So hi everyone, my name's Dee and this is Winston, and today we're going to tell you a little bit about how you can take body measurements of your horse to help you estimate their weight. This is really important because it'll help you monitor their weight over time. Now, the important thing to remember when taking these measurements is that you want to stay as consistent as possible. So do it at the same time, in the same place, using the same methods, and ideally having the same person taking these measurements. Now, I generally tend to do them to kind of fit them into my routine, so that I'll take these measurements usually once a month, and after taking the horses for a ride, and then I know that in that way they get it after exercise. It's in the morning and always in the same place. So try not to kind of take them one time in the morning and another time in the afternoon, or one time before a feed and one time after a feed, so that sort of thing. So Winston is standing relatively squarely, which is what we want. We want them to stand pretty straight and square, and if one of their legs is kind of resting or standing in a weird position behind the body or in front of the body, then that's going to affect your measurements. We also want their neck in a nice relaxed position as well, not too high, not too low on the ground. Now, usually with these measurements, we recommend that you have someone with you to help you hold the horse, and also to hold the tape measure when you take your body length measurement. But you can also do it on your own, and I'll show you how you can do that now. Because obviously, especially in the current climate, you might not have someone at hand to help you do this. Now, if your horse hasn't seen this tape measure before, it'll be a very good idea to introduce your horse to it, because it can look a little bit like electric tape, and not all horses are quite happy to have it sort of flung around their body. But Winston's had this done before, so he's quite happy. Now, over here I've got some zinc oxide tape, which is pretty sticky stuff, and it will help you secure the tape measure at your horse's shoulder, which is where we're going to start taking the body length measurement. This tape measure is a 3 meter long tape measure, and it's got inches on one side and centimeters on the other side, and you can take the measurements in either of these. If you take them in centimeters, it will estimate weight in kilograms, and if you take them in inches, you'll get weight in pounds. So completely your preference. So we're going to start by finding the point of the shoulder. Your body length measurement is going to go from the point of shoulder across your horse's body in a slight diagonal, and it's going to end around here at the point of buttock. So I'll show you how to find these 2 points now. So Winston's being very patient with us and standing very nicely. So to find his point of shoulder, we are going to, alright, I know, we're almost done. Come on. We're going to slide your hand down your horse's neck till you hit the shoulder blade. Then slide your hand down again towards the ground, and you'll get to kind of a pointy, bony protuberance here. That'll be your point of shoulder. We're going to stick the tape measure on there. Now, this takes a little bit of warmth to get sticking, so we're just going to sort of tamp it down and make sure that it's going to stay sticky. And Winston's been distracted by something in the background, but hopefully we can get him to put his neck flat, straight for us again. Come on. Good boy. Okay, because we want his head and neck nice and straight. Then we're going to go across the body. Try that again. Going to go around. So if we just pretend that his head is facing straight, this is why it's sometimes also useful to have a helper with you. Then we're going to look for kind of the natural point in his buttock. Going to feel down there, so you have to come a little bit around the hind quarter. You're not going to here, but you're coming a little bit around to next to the tail. and we're going to find that point of buttock. We're going to make sure our tape measure is flat and not twisted. We're going to take the measurement, and that gives us 165 centimeters. Okay, so you can either write this down or kind of make a note in your phone, or I just tend to WhatsApp it to my husband. So I'll say, Winston, body length 165. Okay. Now we're going to take the heart girth measurement. So with that, you want to find the lowest point of the withers, which is kind of where the withers start going, sloping down into the back. You're going to put your tape measure there. And you want the tape measure to come as close behind the elbow as possible, so almost kind of into your horse's armpit. So I'm going to swing the tape around till I can see it on that side. I'm going to hop around to this side, and I'm going to make sure that the tape measure is behind his elbow. Right, and I'm going to come around. Make sure it's not twisted. Bring it up, and that's going to give us 189 centimeters. Okay, so once again, write it down, make a note of it somewhere, and then just now I'm going to show you how to enter these measurements into the weight tracker, which will then automatically estimate the weight for you, and you can keep track of your horse's weight like this over time. It'll also draw a graph for you to show you how the weight changes over time. Okay. One other thing I wanted to mention, although I'm not going to be doing a full body condition score of Winston, I wanted to talk about his neck. A lot of the time people will say, oh, my horse has a wonderful neck and wonderful muscle on their top line, and I just wanted to remind people that the anatomy of the horse is such that there is a ligament that runs down the horse's neck from the poll down to their withers. So the approximate location of the ligament is kind of, let's say, there. Now, there is no muscle found above this ligament. This is called the nuchal ligament. However, you can get fat deposition above this ligament. So as you can see with Winston, he does have a layer of fat there, but it's pretty evenly distributed along his neck. He doesn't have sort of a lot of fat collected in the middle of his neck, which you might find with an excessively cresty neck. You might find not so much fat here, but then there'll be a big hump here. So where the muscles in your horse's neck are not above there, but they're here on the sides. So you can see when Winston flexes his neck, you can see his muscles. If you think about where your vet will give your horse their vaccination, they will use this nice big muscle here. So if you Canny is wanting to be in the shot. So when people do talk about sort of top line and having very strong muscular necks, we have to remember what the muscle is and what the fat is, and having a lot of excess fat along the top of the neck is not healthy. It's actually even been linked to equine metabolic syndrome, and could be a visual indicator that your horse might have some problems regulating their insulin, especially if sort of the rest of their body looks relatively lean, but then they have this large collection of fat on their neck, or perhaps sort of fat pads on other areas of their body. But I could talk about this all day, so I won't go too much into body condition scoring, because there's already some brilliant videos out there that show you how to do this. So thank you very much for listening, and from Canny and Winston, goodbye till next time.
Hi guys, so I'm back in my office, and I'm going to talk you through, now that you have those measurements, what do you actually do with them, right? And I also want to mention that we have this guide, an instruction booklet on how to monitor the weight and condition of your horse and pony, and this is available to download for free, and you can print it out, or you can keep it on your computer or your phone, And it is basically a step-by-step guideline on firstly how to take body condition score measurements for your horse or pony, also how to estimate their weight, so basically going through what I just spoke about in the videos. And it also has some useful information about taking neck measurements, which can help you monitor sort of the crestiness or the thickness of the crest of your horse's neck. I won't spend too much time going through this, but basically it gives you some general instructions, as I spoke about in the video, on being consistent about your measurements and getting your horse to stand nice and straight on a flat surface. Going through scoring the neck and shoulder individually, then the middle, so from the withers to the last rib, and then the hindquarters separately. Also talking about cresty neck scoring here, how to take the measurements as we've spoken about. And this is basically what I spoke about, taking the body length measurement and the heart girth measurement. And as I said, how to take your horse or pony's neck measurements. And at the back of this instruction booklet, we also have a recording chart. So if you did want to print it out and sort of manually write in your measurements and then record them later onto the spreadsheet, then you can do that. Right, so what does this weight tracker spreadsheet look like? So this is what you will download from the website. And it is just a normal Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. And it has 3 tabs along the bottom. So the information tab, the measurements in centimeters, and the measurements in inches. So the first tab just gives you some instructions on how to use the spreadsheet and some suggestions on saving it. So this one is called the Weight Tracker Original. And I always recommend that you keep the original as is, and you just save as and give it a different name depending on the horse. So I'll show you what to do there. So as I mentioned, you can take either measurements in centimeters like I had done with Winston, and this will estimate weight in kilograms. But you can also, if you prefer, use inches as a measurement. And that will give you weight estimation in pounds. So just remember, whatever you choose, just keep consistent and do it in a consistent way. So here's a space for a horse, so we can put in Winston here because that's his name. We can put in the date, so I'll use today's date, the 16th of the 6th, 2020. And I didn't take any body condition score measurements with Winston this time round, but let's just for argument's sake put in some figures here so I can show you how this works. So for the section 1, which is the neck and shoulder, let's give him a 3.5. For the middle, which was from the withers to the last rib, so covering the back and the belly, let's give him a 3. And for the hindquarters, let's give him a 3.5 as well. So you'll see here that it automatically calculates an average for you based on these 3 body sections. There's also a space to put in a cresty neck score if you'd like to keep track of that. Now, the important bit here is the body measurements, which is what we did in the video. So the body length of Winston, if you remember, was 165 centimeters. And then the heart girth was 189. So we simply put those in, move along, and voila, it estimates the weight for you. And this is 496 kilograms that it's estimated Winston's weight. Now, you might have noticed while I was doing this, putting these numbers in here, that things were starting to change around on the graph. So it looks a little bit odd because we only have one point of data here. So until you've got a number of sort of regular measurements in there, it's not going to look very interesting at the start. There is also space here to put in neck measurements if you would like to keep track of those as well. Okay, so that's all. That's as simple as it gets and how you do this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to save this as. So you're going to click on the little Windows button at the top, save as, and then it's already called a weight tracker original, so we're going to give it a name, and we can say weight tracker Winston, and you could put the year, for example, 2020 or whatever you like, and then save it somewhere where you know that it's going to be easily accessible. All right, so I'm not going to actually save this one. So this is just one point in time, but what it might look like when you have several data points is you'll see something like this. So the more data you put in, the more data points you'll have, and then you can start seeing a nice trend. So this is Winston when I first got him in October last year, and he was visibly overweight. And we can see that we've been tracking his weight nicely down to sort of March time this year, and we had a little bit of weight gain recently, but I'm looking forward to seeing what his new measurement will be like this month. Right, so thanks very much. That's as simple as it gets, and if you continue doing this regularly, you'll be able to see what's happening with your horse's weight, and this can help you make important management decisions. You know, do you need to cut down on your horse's diet? Do you maybe need to up exercise? Are they gaining weight? Are they maintaining? Are they losing weight? And I know we speak a lot about this being used as sort of a tool for weight loss and helping horses lose weight, but I think it's also very helpful if you do have a horse that's a poor doer and you struggle to keep weight on them, to actually do this weight tracking to help you notice, are they maintaining weight? Are they continually sort of losing a little bit of weight? So I think it's very useful for all types of horses out there. So once again, thanks very much and hope to see you soon. Bye.